Tell me about this.
Well, that was there when I was first come in. And of course, down you can see the log on the river. That's the way it used to be every year. The logs getting ready to go to Portland. That's when the tugboats would take them clear to Portland.
So this is my grandpa, Tom Hewson, and he was born and raised here in Albany, and he's probably currently one of Albany's longest residents. You want to say hi?
Hi there. I'm enjoying having Amy with me today, showing her the picture of the city of Albany. The planing mill is where furniture store on Hill Street, Pacific Gate and Hills. In the late 40s, a group of men from Washington come down and they changed it from a planing mill to a plywood mill. And I actually, I had a contract hauling wood chips out of there, and where our house is out there, that was a big gully there, probably 30 feet deep and 100 feet wide, and we had that gully filled clear to the top. In fact, heaped up 6 foot or so, sawdust and chips. That just keeps settling down, and it's got that dip.
Yeah.
And we had the wood chips up probably 6-8 feet high above the ground, and that's settled. It's taken that. That's from back in the 50s.
Yeah, now it's paved.
Yeah, it sure is. Yeah. I remember being at that Red Crown mill. We used to haul seed in there, and of course it was back.
So the Red Crown Mill was there from as long as you could remember?
Right.
And what's there now?
I think it's just a parking area right now.
Okay. Because this is by the bridge going into North Albany?
The railroad bridge.
The railroad bridge. Okay.
Yeah, that's the old wooden bridge. Can you imagine a wooden bridge across there?
And so this is a model of the old building that was there?
Mm-hmm.
So what's this?
This is showing some of the old dairies, Albany Creamery, which is down. It used to be. Do you remember the Albany where they had ice cream on Washington and Second? That was a creamery, and they had big old tanks at the on top of here, and they made butter, and all the buttermilk went up in the tanks. And of course, Dad had 100 hogs, and he used to come and get the milk or the buttermilk, and he'd send me up to the top of that, right on the top there where they had tanks. And I'd turn that on and put one into the barrel where Dad was standing. When it gets filled, he'd holler, and I'd go turn it off so it couldn't get any more milk, buttermilk.
So here's an ad for a farm for sale. And Grandpa, I sell real estate, and you used to sell real estate in town. Did you sell a lot of farms when you were in real estate?
Three farms. And of course, where the Mennonite village is, that was the biggest farm, and that was back in
79.
79, and it was $750,000.
And that was a big sale back then.
That was a big sale. At your grandma's house, they had a cream separator just like this. And I can remember many a time sitting out there cranking it. Dad pour the milk in it up, and I'd sit there and crank. The cream would come out one place, and the other milk would go out another way. Earl Harmon had that siphoning machine, and Dad had the tractor to run it, and that was before I learned to drive the tractor in when I was 8 years old. And Dad had me driving the tractor, pulling the combine, and he was sitting on the combine sewing the sacks. That was a lot of work back in them days. They had a
Before child labor laws.
you betcha. The sacks of grain would be on the ground, and then you'd have to come back in and pick them sacks up with the truck and bring them in town to Sender's warehouse, or the cleaners.
And of course, our area is known for a lot of logging. Grandpa, did you do much logging ever?
I saw lots of it, and this container right here, it used to be, they'd have the timber carnival, and they'd have floats, and they'd put guys in trouble or something, and it was really interesting. Of course, I just sit on the street out here and watch all that taking place.
Did they do the timber carnival down here downtown?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Oh.
It was a whole here downtown. Well, they had tugboat races in the river, and one time they was pulling two tugboats trying to pull which on their way, and they pulled the whole transom out of one of the tugboats.
So they did that downtown. How old were you when you started watching those events, the timber carnival?
That had been in the 40s.
In the 40s?
Yeah.
Okay.
And of course, they always had princes and queens and had a lot of people involved.
Yeah.
Grandma had a organ just like that. We used to play.
Do you remember ever going to the movies when you were a kid?
Oh, you betcha.
Where did you go to the movies?
The Regal,
The Regal?
and then the Venetian.
So the Venetian was there when you were a kid?
Yep.
When did the Picts, when did they build the Picts?
That was back in, must have been in his 50s.
Oh, okay.
50 years. So
What's the first movie you remember going to see?
it was, I don't know, I can't even remember, to tell you the truth. It was some girl, not Orphan Annie, but something similar to her.
Snow White? Did you see Snow White?
Oh yeah, I saw that, believe it or not. And of course, Granada is no longer here. It's a parking lot now.
Oh, okay. Which parking lot?
It's one right across from, just before you get to the Venetian. Yeah,
Okay.
First between Broadham and Ellsworth.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is the kind of desks you sat in when you went to school?
Yeah.
Okay.
I only got one spanking in school, too.
You got a spanking in school. What'd you do?
I and two other kids was walking out after school, and a young girl, that we threw a snowball at her, and the teacher saw us throwing that, and one of the kids ran and hid underneath the schoolhouse, but Dick Guyton and I both got a good whipping. And of course, we got home, and when they found out about it, we
Got another whipping. Well, tell me a little bit about school when you were a kid. What was your favorite subject?
Oh, recreation, anything.
Like most kids.
Yeah, no. Well, like I had problems in school. In fact, I had a teacher that, the very first teacher, Ruth Bates Dawson was her name. And that was my first grade teacher. And when I moved into Mennonite Village, she was there. And she got me one day and she says, "Do you remember when you was a kid, I used to have to stay after school to help you. And first thing she said, I would say, well, I wonder if Dad got that field plowed, or it's time for him to get the cows in. I wonder if Daddy got all that done. So
your mind was on farming, not schoolwork.
Oh, yeah. In fact, it was farming until, well, I got my first draft notice on my senior year, and a whole busload of us went to Eugene for our physical. And of course, at that time, I was pretty heavy in 4-H, and with all the livestock, the county agent, I think it was the county agent, got a deferment for me. That was in 47. And then I was on a deferment until I was 25. And I got another greetings, and I asked Dad, I said, what should I do? He said, well, I can handle it. Go ahead and go. So I went, and while I was in Europe, Dad wrote and he said, I'm selling out. So when I got home, I didn't have a job. And but I had a connection with the plywood mill with the guys that come from Washington to start the one. And I went to work there and spent 20 years in construction, millwrighting, only 16 years with them. But then I went out and through Carpenter Engineering, so I helped build the bridge, Lion Street Bridge, going to North Albany. Spent 2 years in Benton College building on that. While I was there was an electrician got electrocuted. I was standing on the top or up on the roof of the building, looked out there, and the guy had a hold of the chain of the crane, and they swung the crane over into the power line, and that's when I didn't see it, but they said it just blew the top of his head out.
Oh. What's that?
The first helicopter I saw, it lit right in the front of that building there. That was Montgomery Ward's back in them days.
Moved a lot of the buildings downtown, didn't they?
In fact, this building right here comes from where the bank that they just tore the building down the last 3 years.
Okay.
Can you imagine moving this with horses?
No.
They evidently put logs down and had it blocked up. But man, this is a big building.